Hey, what's up YouTube? You're watching Ready Set Drone, and today I have the EMAX FPV combo. This is a budget-friendly, ready-to-fly FPV kit with a tiny whoop style FPV drone, goggles, and transmitter all in one box. We're gonna open it up and try it out, so stay tuned. So first of all, if you're new to the channel and you like tiny whoops and FPV drones, you should hit subscribe and the notification bell so you can get more videos like this. So aside from a brief email with some introductory notes about this thing, I don't know too much about it. I have not seen it yet. I do understand that it's supposed to look a lot like the original Tiny Hawk, but with a lot of improvements, because the original Tiny Hawk was kind of groundbreaking for what it was at the time. And again, it's an entire ready-to-fly kit with the goggles, E8 transmitter, and the actual drone. That's so satisfying. All right, so in the box you've got a card with QR codes that allow you to get the manuals for the thing and support. You've got some stickers, you've got some precautionary things like don't swallow the drone, don't get the drone in your eye, don't taunt your dog with the drone, or your cat for that matter. And yes, it looks like this is a very similar remote control as they've been giving out lately with the Tiny Hawk 3. And then here's the actual quad, and boy, it does look a lot like a Tiny Hawk, like an original Tiny Hawk. Now, a few things that I have been told about this one is it has thicker prop guards, so you're less likely to break the prop guards. It has a more protection around the camera, and it has kind of a similar setup for putting the battery down here in the bottom. And it does look like this battery is the same EMAX 450 milliamp hour EMAX battery that comes in a lot of their products. So I think this is going to be cross-compatible with a lot of their other Tiny Hawk products. But generally, this looks a lot like the original Tiny Hawk. And then finally, you've got the Transporter 2 goggles. I think that's what these are called. And these are an improved version of their original Easy Pilot goggles. I believe this thing pops off. Yes, this is magnetic, which I love that feature, that this thing will actually be able to pop on there magnetically, or you can pull it off and look at it if you wanted to show somebody else what the flight looks like. There is a magnifying glass, or diopter, I think is what it's called, inside here that allows you to focus and make this look really big. It's got ports for 2 antennas here. It's got a USB connector here on the side, I assume for charging, some controls. Now the one thing this does not have that comes with the Tiny Hawk 3 is this does not have a built-in DVR. So if you are using this, you're not going to be able to necessarily record your flights in here. If you get a better set of goggles or a more expensive set of goggles, you can record it. These are really a starter kit. They're lower price, and they were designed to be lower price. This whole kit was designed to be lower price than the Tiny Hawk 3, so that people who wanted to get into flying for the first time could do it without having to pay as much as you would pay for a more advanced and feature-rich quad like the Tiny Hawk 3 kit. You do get some spare props. It looks like they're sending you 4 of the Avon 4-blade props right here, and you get the little kit here to help put your monitor. I think you can actually mount the monitor onto the remote control. So one other thing you can do with this, if you don't like the goggles and you actually want to fly it more FPV but with a screen, this is magnetic, as we mentioned before. This just pops in there. It stays in with magnets, which I love, but you can pop this out. Ooh, it makes a really cool sound. Hear that? So you can pop this out, and this is its own little screen. No DVR in this one with the Easy Pilot. If you get the one with the Tiny Hawk 3, it does have a DVR, so that's how we've gotten our DVR recordings. But it comes with this little kit so that you can actually take your controller and mount this to the top of the controller, much like you would a camera drone. But then you get this set up here, where you can actually see the quad in the screen while you're flying like this, instead of wearing the goggles. One other thing I want to mention about the Easy Pilot Pro is that this is a big upgrade in terms of controllers over the previous Easy Pilot. This is the same thing that comes with the Tiny Hawk 3, and so this controller seems to be the new standard for EMAX as far as their ready to fly kits. All right, so this is your arm switch. Sometimes it doesn't arm right away. Just give it a second, try it a few times. If it doesn't arm, make sure it's pretty level. It doesn't like to arm if it's, as a matter of fact, let me hold it up sideways and see if it'll arm. Yeah, see, it won't arm when it's like that, but if I hold it flat and hold it steady, yes. So if it's not sitting flat, it won't arm, which is good. So this is your arm switch. And then this we think might be turtle mode. In turtle mode, the throttle doesn't actually do anything. It just you can move the yaw and you can move the pitch and roll to try and get it unstuck from something. Okay, so quick summary of the sticks. This is your arm. All the way down is armed, all the way up is disarmed. This is your turtle mode. Away from you is, all the way down is not turtle mode, all the way up is turtle mode. This is your modes. All the way down is air mode, all the way up is angle, in the middle is horizon, and this is your beeper. Away from you is beeper on, towards you is beeper off. Okay, so it's been a few days and we have been doing some research into why the transmission on this thing was so bad. It was just pretty much unflyable with lots of static here in my studio, and realized that it was on raceband 4 and it was at 25 milliwatts. And I don't know if the 25 milliwatts was really that much of an impact, but definitely raceband 4 was not the channel to be on. We took it outside and we flew it around a little bit on raceband 4 away from the interference in here, and it did better. And then we brought it back in and we changed it to Bosscam 1, and that made a huge difference, absolutely huge difference. We were able to fly it in here without any problem at all. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you get this thing and you're flying it and you're looking at the goggles and saying, wow, this is really hard to fly because there's so much static and so much interference, it's probably interference on the channel that you're on, and what you need to do is just go ahead and change the channel that you're flying on, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. So in order to get into the menu where you want to be able to change your channel, you take your right stick and you push it up, and your left stick and you push it left, and then you get this menu. So we'll go to features, go right, we'll go to our VTX and go right, and we will go to our band. And you can see right now we're on Bosscam A. That seems to be working well for us. But if you want to switch it, you can go here to all these different settings here. Keep in mind there are some locked channels that if you go to, you won't be able to see yourself. But when we started, we were on raceband 4, and I'll go ahead and go back, or go set actually, and say confirm, and then I have to switch to raceband 4 on my goggles. And you notice how much interference we're getting in that. We're getting a lot of little flickers and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is switch it back to Bosscam 1, because that seemed to be working really well. And you'll notice there's no more flickering. It's much clearer, much better. So now I'm going to go ahead and say back, and then I'm going to go say it down here and say back, and then I'm going to say save and exit, and save and exit, and that keeps me on this channel. Now there's other things you can do in there, but really that's the main thing, is to go in and make those changes to the channel that you're on. And now we're going to take another flight with it around here in the room, and we should be able to get a lot better footage, a lot clearer, without as much interference. Now, of course, low light, you're going to get some little sparkles and some ugliness in the picture because there's not a lot of light in here. But
I can fly now that I'm on Bosscam 1, I can fly all the way up to the front of the office, into another office. This is 2 walls between us, and I'm getting a little interference, but not nearly the interference I was getting before when I was on Raceband 4. Makes it a whole much better experience. And I'm not suggesting necessarily that you should be on this channel in particular. I'm just suggesting that if the channel you're on is really bad, that you can just try some different channels and see where the least interference is. Now, this quad does have different flight rates. And again, now I'm in Horizon. I think I can flip in Horizon. Yep. Not very well, but I did it. Indoor flips are always kind of tough. I'm over going a little bit. And then it does have an acro or air mode that I can flip into. I'm in that now, and that does not give you any stabilization. You can still do flips, but in the interest of not crashing right now, I'm not going to. But you know, depending on how comfortable you are and how much flying you've done, you may not want to go into acro or air mode right out of the gate. You may want to start in Horizon or angle. Put that back into angle mode and whoop. Let's figure out where I am. Bring it up here and try to land it on the table. Okay, here we go. Off the grouse. It's kind of wild in acro. Maybe I set the rates a little too aggressive. All right. You gotta assume. It's pretty much always the move, right? All right, one more try. Yeah, I mean it's very zippy. Again, we might have the rates set a little too fast in this mode. We set up a profile 3, and the rates are at I think 715, which would be like 2 rotations in a second almost, right? It's 360 would be 1, so like 720 would be 2, exactly. So the flips are very, very quick. But, you know, as far as controlling it goes, even outdoors, it's doing pretty good. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to Chris and let him give it a shot and see what he thinks. How's that rate for you? Chris, the master of the sticks. And the goggle quality is not terrible.
No, and if you didn't tell me what this was, I don't think I could tell that this was not a tiny hawk. It flies, I'd say, quite similarly
to a tiny hawk.
Yeah. That was actually at 3.2.
Okay. So you were you getting a warning?
No, I was gonna go through your leg, but I didn't see you right there.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll see.
Did you note the flight time before?
Right now it says 1 minute 46. First part.
Oh, it's still going from the first part?
Yeah, that's interesting. But I think it's just a battery that's... And I'm at 3.2, so I think we're gonna land.
Okay. So in conclusion, the Easy Pilot Pro is a scalable quad that you can start off with as a low-cost, ready-to-fly kit to get your feet wet with regard to flying FPV and learn how to do it at a very low cost and a very simple setup because everything's included. The one big gotcha we had with this thing was the channel we were on, Raceband 4, when we got it, had a lot of interference, but once we changed the channel, we were able to fly much, much better and have a much better goggle experience. So if you're getting a lot of interference on this thing, just change the channel till you find one that works for your situation, because you've got Wi-Fi, you've got cellular, you've got all kinds of electronic interference inside a home or an office. So be aware of that, find a channel that's not gonna have as much interference, and then this thing flies great. And the fact that you can flip it into air mode and fly it like a freestyle FPV quad with acro on and air mode on is really awesome. You don't have to start that way, but you can advance to that situation when you're ready to, and it makes it a lot more fun and kind of gets to where you can start to do tricks, flips, spins, all that kind of stuff that you can't do with a quad that doesn't have an acro mode. If you want to know more about this thing, there's a link below to go to the EMAX website and check it out. Again, it's a low-cost alternative to their other Tiny Hawk lines. It's a really good place to start if you haven't flown FPV before and you want to get into something that's small, light, easy, and pretty durable. I'd love to hear your comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see you next time on Ready, Set, Drone.